Oh, yeah.
It's good, right?
I mean, I used to drink them all the time.
Yeah. This episode is not sponsored by V8, the official beverage of I'm not comfortable with it.
It is good. It's just, they get so thick after a little bit.
I'm looking up. You asked, and then I think somebody else asked.
Somebody asked in the comments
about the bioavailability of the different vitamins and whatnot in V8. And this is from Medical News Today. Just kind of assessing if it actually is good for you. And like, they point out a few things that, like, you know, it's got a goodly amount of vitamin A. It's got a goodly amount of vitamin C.
There's some potassium in there.
Unfortunately, some of the vitamin C that could be in here is destroyed by the heat treatment of packaging it and pasteurizing it. Technically, there are 2 servings of vegetables in an 8-ounce can. However, the juicing process gets rid of a lot of the fiber. So it would be better if you just ate these fucking fruits, but here we are.
Like, let's say you live in today times and you need to drink a can of V8 to stay alive.
There's less sugar than orange juice. That's nice. There is also, like, the lack of fiber is one thing to take into consideration, but also apparently there's a higher salt content than you would expect in this.
Well, I don't know if it's higher than I would expect, Forrest. 920 milligrams of sodium.
Wow. Yeah, that's not nothing.
Bottoms up. But that's okay, because I have some milligrams of water here.
In summary, while V8 juice can be a healthful addition to a balanced diet, it is best to drink it in moderation. It's generally cheaper to make juices and smoothies at home than to buy them in stores. Homemade varieties also tend to be more nutritious. Juices do not contain much fiber, so it's always best to eat whole, fresh fruits and vegetables when possible. And that's from, who wrote this? Catherine Marengo, LDN, RD.
What's up with juicing? Why is juicing such a big deal? Other than the fact that it does, like, it help you get some stuff that you might not get because it tastes better in a juice.
I mean, like
you can take a bunch of tomatoes and shit and then put a banana in there or something, and it's like, it tastes so bad.
Yeah. Well, if you put, like, half a banana within a mile of a gallon of other fruit juices, it's going to taste like fucking banana.
It seems like juicing in and of itself just destroys a bunch of shit.
Like that article was saying, it takes away a lot of the fiber, and fiber is important, among other things, for proper digestion.
Fiber's important.
What?
I guess.
It is. It's good for you. It's important because, like, it's good for, like, long term. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't right here.
Scientificism.
It's important for, like, long-term energy. It's important for proper digestion. Helps things go through you better. Roughage, as we call.
That's what my grandma used to say.
Roughage? Yeah. That's what psyllium's all about. You ever take psyllium as a laxative, psyllium husks? It's not a chemical laxative. It's literally just the husks of psyllium seeds.
We're going to talk about laxative.
It's just it's plant fiber. It's little bits of plant material that are kind of abrasive, but not too bad. And so you eat mountains of these, and all they do is they just scratch the inner lining of your intestines on the way through. And that irritates your intestines and causes them to produce a bunch of mucus to stop being scratched. And that mucus is like a fucking water slide that just sloshes everything through your butt. And so if you take psyllium regularly, you have easier poops because you're producing more mucus in your gut to slide everything through you.
Do we need
that's fiber. That's what all that is. That's plant fiber.
So we just need. That's why you need fiber, is to smooth out your intestines.
One of the many reasons. Yeah, it's really handy for that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that.
It's also important for good gut health in your microbiome. Your
They
gut
like
biome.
it?
Yeah, your little buddies down in there, they like it. They like it a lot. In fact, things like cellulose.
We could probably talk all day about how we're just we're just giant fucking colonies.
For sure, there's about as many bacterial cells in your body as there are human cells. Oftentimes, it was a common misconception that there's like 10 times more. I've even said that before. There's probably videos of me out there saying that shit. But like more modern research.
You heard it here first, folks. Forrest is a
lie
liar.
pants. Well, I've only said it because I was taught that in college.
It's fine. See, college is bad.
It's all lies. But it's one of those things.
Wait. Is it that things change?
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Understanding
like several decades ago,
widen.
somebody made that claim in a paper, but it turns out that their measurements were off and nobody fucking checked. And then we've just been saying it for a long time. And now back in like 2000 something, it was like in the 2010s, I think. Somebody went back and reran the numbers and was like, oh fuck, it's actually they were off by an order of magnitude. It's not 10 times as many, it's about as many equal parts. And if you type in to Google as 10 times more bacteria in your body than human cells or whatever, you'll find PhDs aplenty willing to back that up and verify it. And you'll find I've found when I was looking for this a New Scientist article saying there's 10 times more bacteria, blah blah blah. And if you go down to like almost to page 2, there is another New Scientist article from like a decade later saying it turns out it's not true, and here's how the actual number. And it's like the more accurate modern article wasn't as catchy and exciting, so that one's high up on the page. You know what I mean?
Wow, Google.
Yeah. So people just it's whatever.
Way to go, Google.
Yeah, Google.
And that's why you have to use 4 to 6 different search engines.
Be sure to drink V8 every time you're watching this podcast. We never started the podcast.
No.
Well, if we ever get sponsored, that's what we're going to say.
If we ever get sponsored, we'll say that. V8.
It's the official beverage of I'm Not Comfortable With This until we decide against that. Welcome.
Welcome to
the show.
Yeah, and I'm Ben.
And I'm Forrest.
Let's crack on into it. Crack into it.
Crack into it.
Like a coconut.
Coconut.
It's Sea of Thieves. If anybody out there plays it, you know exactly how it goes. You get a bunch of stuff on a boat, and you struggle for like 3 hours, and then some dude comes along with his buddy, and they blow your ship up, and all that shit's gone.
What's your boat called?
I mean, I don't know.
Is it a thing? Is it like it's an MMO, right?
You can name the boat if you want, but like, I mean, I think you would just call it that. I don't think you actually can name it.
It's an MMO though. Like
kind of.
Oh.
It's more like you jump on a big open ocean and sail around in a boat with a couple other groups of people at a time. Maybe like 20 other ships max or some shit. I don't know.
So it's not a massively multiplayer online. It's like a moderately multiplayer online game.
Yeah.
Right on.
It's like every other type of game except for the MMO kind. Yeah. There's not 1 million fucking gnomes running around stacking up gold or whatever. I don't know what you do, and wow.
Yeah, I haven't played World of Warcraft.
Because I played EverQuest 2.
Man, I played EverQuest for like 30 solid minutes, but I was real young, and I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. And my dad's computer was not the fastest thing in the world.
Oh, man, yeah, back then it was probably not. Playing it now on, like, a good computer is fun.
Right.
Well, it's still EverQuest 2. Like, MMOs are kind of just like...
MMOs.
It's done.
Yeah.
Don't drink any V8. That's what I say.
Not now, not ever.
Yeah, and that's my sponsored opinion.
It's the official sponsored, not sponsored. It's not the official.
It's actually the official opinion of V8. Anyway, now we'll never get a sponsorship from V8. Who's their main competitor? I want that guy.
Other juice.
Yeah, give me other juices.
Other Welch's.
Welchers. Welchy.
So... I don't care if they sponsored us for $10. I would be over the moon if V8 sponsored our fucking show.
Any juice company sponsors it, I'd be like, that's cool. they could be like, yeah, we juice people. I'd be like, well,
dope. Put it in me.
How much do you want to pay? So there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
a lot going on.
A lot going on. I just watched the Creator Clash, the iDubbbz Creator Clash.
Oh fuck! I
awesome.
wasn't even thinking about that. Did it actually happen?
It actually happened. We bought tickets a while ago. Oh, it was radical. What killed me? The funniest fucking thing about it is not just that it happened, that it actually pulled it off, but that it was actually fun to watch.
Well, I had no doubt it would be entertaining.
Oh, it was great because it was a boxing match after all, but it was a boxing match between a bunch of people who are not boxers.
Wasn't there at least one boxer there?
Yeah, the headliner that was going up against iDubbbz is a doctor, a physician who also has been boxing for like 10 years.
Yeah,
and so it was great. I'm not going to say who won anything, but in case anybody wants to go watch it now. But it was a fantastic event, and like it got funnier as it went along. These are all YouTubers, and so they actually all were just bringing their personality out. And the best part was, these are all people who like, I get this struggle. They all edit their videos. They all have a personality that they put out there, and now they're on the spot, very nervous, about to get their shit kicked in, and they're all super awkward. And very obviously uncomfortable.
That sounds fun, though.
Oh, it was great to see. So, like, and it was also for a great cause. They raised a fuck of money for charity. Like,
glad I'm
a
not
huge
a YouTuber.
amount.
But that is good.
But, like, yeah.
Charity's good.
It's great. And, like, it was so surreal to watch because, like, these are so many people with, like, huge names, like, legends. They had, iDubbbz was there. Aaron Hansen from the Game Grumps fought Harley from Epic Mealtime.
Jesus.
So, like, these are, like, these OG YouTubers with millions and millions and millions of subscribers. And, like, people have been around forever. And the amount of star power that they brought, like, the crowd was losing their shit. And when you looked out in the crowd, I saw Drew Gooden in the crowd. I saw Eddie Burback in the crowd. And they were freaking out just as much as everybody else because these are huge people.
That's pretty cool.
So, it was a radical thing. And it makes me, it inspired the shit out of me to want to make more and better content so I can try to make that much of an influence. You know what I mean? That's so cool. If I can make that many people happy, that would be everything to me.
You want to fight iDubbbz?
I want to kick the shit out of iDubbbz someday. iDubbbz has been my hero for a long time.
He's fine.
One of my
but it would also
online.
be fun to fight him.
Oh, it'd be great.
I do get the feeling that iDubbbz does most things in good. What's the word?
In good faith, like he genuinely tries.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying, like, I don't. He's a tough character because he's not like. I don't think he's evil.
Mm.
I do think he is a trickster.
Oh, yeah,
some sort of trickster deity. Some sort of goblin man. The stuff he's been putting out, like the long form like videos, the like documentary type stuff on YouTubers, those are very interesting, and I feel a certain amount of passion coming off of those. That isn't just like some dude fucking around on YouTube for views. He cares about the content he's putting into.
That's been the really interesting thing since like
kind of interesting to see.
Since Content Cop started, like he stopped.
I'm just a fucking idiot talking about shit on the internet.
Yeah, we're not like fucking iDubbbz is watching this. Like I hope I know what they think of me.
Yeah, like I'm just talking about a thing I watch on YouTube sometimes.
Yeah, but like ever since he stopped doing Content Cop and whatnot, and like I feel like his content it got weirder. And there was a long stretch in there, like when he was fucking doing the one with counting peanuts. They did like the whole like iDubbbz Complains series where you talk about the lottery and masks and stickers on cars. And like, I felt like it really was just whatever the fuck I want to do, I'm going to put on the internet. Because he doesn't get sponsored by anybody. You know what I mean? So it's just literally, I can do whatever I want and I'm going to do that now. That was like, it reminded me a lot of, Jenna Marbles, but more fucking, insane.
Chaotic, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love the fact that, like, I feel like a lot of channels are doing that now, where it's really more, it's becoming less and less of I am a this kind of channel and just, I'm an internet celebrity. I'm here to do whatever I want. You know what I mean?
It's scary. For a lot of people, that's scary.
Yeah. That's honestly... I don't think
it's hard though. The way things are going, I don't know how you can. It's not like you can do the same things you used to, where you just make a channel and you're like completely anonymous. Like
right.
It is. You can do that, but that you pretty much have to make content that's so like it can't be. It's not that it can't be good, because I watch plenty of like nameless channels where they just like it's like like they just do cool videos about things and that's all. It's not like trying to convince anybody of anything, or like they usually just like topics or essays or something like that. So it's not like a huge deal. But then you have this other category where it's like you've got to put your name out there, and you're essentially sponsoring yourself. Like you're saying like these things I'm saying are important to people, or they need to be, or they matter, and I want to be heard. I'm not just putting the content out to entertain. I think I definitely fall more on the entertainment side, but that's always been what I've wanted to do. I've wanted to entertain people. It doesn't mean I don't want to have a voice and say, hey, these things are good, these things are bad. Like, you know, maybe it'd be nice to have enough money, power, and influence to say, let's let the kids out of the cages. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah. Be all about that, yeah.
But like what I really want to do is just make people like escape. So
just kind of give them something to think about.
Yeah, maybe, you know, like I would rather just entertain people. It doesn't mean I don't want to have no meaning. It just means that meaning isn't the main pursuit. It's
no, and that's admirable. Goal. Yeah, that's laudable, because that's like you said, escapism is really important. Get out of fucking this hellhole for just a minute. You know what I mean? Mentally.
Yeah, not forever. No, you need to focus on your life and
just
fix
give your brain
shit.
A break.
But like, you know, it's crazy. It's all.
I mean, that's why we do lots of like that's a lot of like, you know, the Marvel movies or whatever video games, or just like
anything, whatever fun thing you're doing.
You're just doing it just to hang out, you know.
Well, that's why we have art.
Yeah,
is because we can't just fucking count things all day.
Yeah.
So there's that whole fucking thing with like people. I miss. It's not happening right now, but it'll come back around with all the memes about like, you know, all the people who benefit from art but like fucking don't want to support it at all, and act like it's not something that needs to be like you have to train for, and like it's not a real job.
Yeah,
because the problem with that is that everybody benefits from it in some way. Most people do. So
I remember one time I was working at this science museum.
It's like painters aren't jesters. They're painters. Like they're artists.
I was working at this science museum. This is a stupid, pointless story. I was working at this science museum, and we had...
So is everything I just said.
Education department, and there was like an arts side to everything. Like it was you know, they were trying to do like STEAM instead of STEM, where you incorporate artistic expression.
You told me about this, I think, when it was going on.
Well, it's
tell the people.
Well, there was this whole fucking... This is not new. It's like there's this whole thing. There was this push because, you know, science education is so underfunded and so poorly done that rather than actually just promote science education and boost everything, we made like these special initiatives called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so you have STEM education, which is separate from all the other kinds of education.
And also now it's a logo they slap on products.
Right. And so like it's
a talking point.
Yeah, if it makes you think about anything, it's STEM. And so like that's fine.
Very bastardized.
Like, I get the idea of kind of grouping these things together a little bit, and I get the idea that you have like, rather than having like a mathematics group, which might be less attractive, and a science group, which might be attractive for the wrong reasons, and a technology group, what is that all about? You're going to play on your phone. Having it all STEM, they're like, okay, I'm here to learn, to think analytically, to criticize, to be, you know, like this, kind of gives it this title. And so I kind of understand. But then they started saying, well, there's also, we need to be promoting artistic expression and artistic thinking, because that's important too. And so we're going to add arts in there, and we're going to call it STEAM. So you have science, technology, art, and mathematics.
But art is its own thing.
Right. Well, that's this STEAM education is important because it's you know, you have your critical mind and then you have your artistic mind. Again, it's supposed to be developed. It's a very progressivism kind of John Dewey.
Is it because we're trying to get funding for arts again? Is that...
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. Is that the arts were also underfunded, so we tacked them on STEM. And then there was this big push where they were like, well, also, you know, English, you know, and literature and all these things, that's really important as well. And that's a big thing that's also underfunded. So we're going to throw in reading as well. So you have science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And when you put that all together, it spells fucking school. And like that's, you know what I mean? And so like it's
That's what I was about to say if you weren't going to get there, is like, this is weird. It sounds like we're just taking all the subjects and saying,
we'll give
these need
special
more
funding.
funding.
Yes, exactly. And so like this was stream education now. And like
What?
It's stream was it? And so like fucking
Science, technology,
reading, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Yes. And so, like, this was, like, there was this push after push after push. And I was in this fucking museum working as, I was in the education department. We had these meetings that were, regular meetings to talk about, like, what the future of the museum was going to be, what the future of, like, the department was going to be, what kind of things we wanted to focus on. And I was a STEM educator. That was my job.
Still trying to figure out how stream got off the drawing
Seriously,
board.
good gravy,
Like,
dude.
there wasn't any. There had to be people at the meeting that were fired.
Yeah,
because they were like, "What the fuck?
Are you? What is this?" But like
stream.
Yeah.
Why don't you just fund the school?
But I fucking.
Have you tried funding a fucking school?
I pissed off the artsy people because we were all STEM educators supposedly, but like there were some people there that were like, like, I'm not naming any names, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here, but they were like, we should incorporate more, like, yoga into the classes to teach the kids about, like, deep breathing and, like, how to find their emotions and shit. And I'm like...
That's an exercise.
Well, I was like, that's totally cool. Do that, but, like, do you want to incorporate, like, let's do... And they were talking about, like, what to do and, like, where we're going, and, like, they were... Basically, I said that science is more important than art, and they were not happy with that because I was like, wait, yeah, okay, you guys can do the arts finger painting camp, that's totally fine, just like also I will teach chemistry, and that's not the same. Like, not saying what you're doing isn't important and special, I'm saying they're different.
No, yeah, art is very important.
It's incredibly important.
Art is a beautiful like thing that mankind gets to do because we can.
I was thinking about...
We also need to build things that can do other stuff.
Yeah, and don't make me... I am not an artist. It's just not how my brain works. I'm a creator.
Well, I also think that
things.
Forcing art into like science and math and things doesn't really help people understand.
Yeah.
Like, I have a more artistic brain, and if you say like, oh, okay, well, like, fucking Eduardo has 8 paintings, like, that doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean shit. I still need to go... The way I learn math is by doing it a million fucking times. Yeah. And that's just the way it's going to be.
You just have to memorize it.
Yeah. I just have to memorize everything about how it works, and then I'll know.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm just bad at it.
See, and I'm the exact opposite, because like when I try to memorize it, it doesn't work for me. I failed, you know this, I'm telling them, but like I failed Algebra 1 from 6th grade when I had to take it the first time through high school with you.
Yeah, we failed some math.
And I kept failing like Algebra 1 on into college. And it wasn't until I was almost done. I was like almost done with my associate's degree, my first one. And I had done the 80,000th remedial math. And then I had this professor who had a doctorate in mathematics. And she sat down with me and was like, you know, why are you not... What's the problem? What do you? And I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. And I explained to her that I really like science, and that's why I'm... And she's like, oh, fine. And she started showing me the derivations. So rather than just memorizing, you know, that m is equal to x2 minus x1 over y2 minus y1, I just... I did that backwards. It's y2 over y1 over x2. It doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter. The math is not important to
rather
the
than
story
just
about
memorizing.
Forrest learning math. It doesn't matter that he doesn't know it.
Right.
You fools.
But like rather than just memorizing that, she just showed me like why those numbers are important and where that formula, the derivation of that formula. She showed me like how to turn slope intercept into standard, into this, into that, and like how to actually make the numbers do. And I was like, fucking because now it wasn't memorizing, it was literally just playing with it. I was just moving things around and they made sense. And I got immediately, like, I breezed through the rest of my math classes through my whole fucking undergrad.
That's fair. I mean, like, looking at it with that's easier.
It was way more fun. Just like doing the things and why they matter. That was awesome. And it's fucking hysterical that I can't fucking remember Rise Overrun while I'm explaining that. Whatever.
Yeah, man.
But
slope this.
Slope this.
Slope this.
That as cool as ice.
I'm actually quite cold. Just kidding. It's an Oklahoma summer over here.
I was thinking about like the nature of art earlier on.
The nature. Oh, well, this sounds like it could be interesting. No, not at all.
Won't be.
Oh.
No.
The nature of art. I was thinking of the nature of art.
It'll be a bit of a tangent if you're down for it.
I was thinking about the meaning of the soul of a man.
I have a book called The Idea of Man, which is an anthology of like philosophy.
I would like to see how long you can punish a man for before he becomes a puddle of...
What are you talking about?
I'm done.
Are you referencing something, or are you just having a stroke?
I'm having a stroke? I just fell into the accent, and I just didn't want to stop, so I just kept saying words.
Jesus Christ.
You know that guy.
People love the show. People tune in for this. They're like, yes, I want to listen to Ben losing his fucking mind and Forrest talking about math for an hour.
They do want that, and I don't know why, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that you want it, because we're going to keep giving it to you.
What's the tangent? Tangent me up.
So I was watching a video. It was a TikTok video about...
when we do our cooking show...
We need to do a cooking show.
I want to start with a beef Wellington, because I've never had one.
Oh, they're all right.
I don't want to make one. All right, go ahead. Finish your story about the math.
So this guy's not in the math story. It's an art story.
You put mustard on it. It sounds dope.
This guy was
Wellington.
like reviewing books, and a question was asked of him.
Beef or Wellington? Okay, I'm done.
Or Wellington. New speak beef. Somebody asked this person. No, yeah.
Okay, hold on. No, just... What the fuck? I'm sorry.
It's
okay.
when you're convinced that it isn't actually beef.
No, stop. We need to reset. None of that shit matters. Now we're gonna start on the tangent again.
Okay. All right.
Start the tangent over, please.
Okay.
Retangenting.
So.
Retangential.
Tautology tangent.
Okay.
Tang again. So this guy.
What?
I don't know.
I wish I could tang once more. Hold on, we're gonna go. Okay. Focus.
Man, it's too late in the evening for this. I'm real hot. I'm wearing a hoodie because I'm wearing a dumb shirt under it, and I don't want to show that. But I was too lazy to change my shirt. Okay, all right. So it's this man. I'm about to talk about some fucked up shit too. This man.
What? That doesn't make it better. Okay.
This man is a book reviewist, and he was asked what are the most like horrible, disgusting books ever that like he couldn't even finish them because they were so bad.
Okay. I'm with it.
And so he was saying like this book is all about they're all fiction books. He's like this book is all about horrible things, and I thought, oh fuck the tangent, no, god damn it, the camera.
So we'll start it over.
We'll do this. We'll start again after the ad break.
God
damn it.
We'll 100% put an ad break this time.
Okay, all right. Ad break. Ad break here. And then I reach and I touch and it's turned back on. Okay, we're good. God damn it.
This is going to be a killer.
This is the best story you've ever heard. All right, so here's what happens. Okay. It's that this guy on TikTok reviews books. He was asked, what's the grossest, most disgusting, horrific book that you like barely couldn't even finish? What was that? And he lists off like his top 5 most horrible books he's ever read. And they're all books about horrible, awful, terrible things. Graphic, violent, bloody, very, very terrible books.
Right.
And he says the number one book that he could not get through, he couldn't even finish it. The other ones he finished. This one he said he couldn't even fucking finish it. He had to put it down. Was called The Consumer by Michael Geary. I don't know. It's something like that. And
Okay.
he refused to even go into detail as to why it was so bad. And so naturally, I'm gonna look that shit up, right?
Yeah.
And so I look it up, and all the reviews online, I found out number one, Michael Greery or whatever is, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to him, but I just don't remember his name. This dude was in a band, he's like, I guess, and so like he's got a lot of fans, and so like there's a bunch of reviews of the book, like this is the best book ever written, it's amazing. But then there's also way more reviews that are like, nobody should ever fucking put this shit on paper, this is horrific. And like so many people were like, fucking threw up in my mouth, couldn't finish it, had to throw it away, had to put it down, fuck this book. And so I found a fucking free PDF of the whole thing online.
Copy. Okay.
Yeah, so I downloaded it.
Okay.
And I start reading it. And what it is, it's an anthology of short horror stories, essentially. Just short, horrific stories.
Fair enough. Are you allowed to have this thing?
The book?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy it on Amazon.
Oh, yeah, I guess it wouldn't have reviews if you could.
Yeah. But
Here's my review for...
I read the first 4 stories, and then I stopped because there's no point in going any further with it. And so like the first story is about a brother and sister in an incestuous relationship. Incestuous relationship.
Cool. 2
so
for 2.
Yeah.
On the
So
incest
it
episode.
starts off there, and it's just I forgot how the thing goes, but it's all about their love and affection and everything. And I should also point out all of the stories are written to deliberately be as gross as possible.
I mean, that's gross, but
So like at one point,
it's not
like
scary.
Well, no, but at one point, like it's talking about them kissing, or like she kisses him on the cheek or something, and it goes into like a long detail about like this string of spit that comes off of her lips and like connects them and like all further. Like it's real weird.
It's like written like to, it's like, you know,
To deliberately be as gross as possible. And I'll give more examples.
I don't know if we need that.
We
can imagine. I and the audience, we can imagine.
Well, the second story is about these 2 kids who go do drugs in the sewer, and then they come out and they're on like the beach where the storm drain empties, and there's like an overpass overhead, and there's this dog laying on the ground that's had like its back leg torn off, that it got hit by a bus or whatever and rolled down, and it's laying there dying, and one of the kids stabs it with a stick and it dies, and that's the whole story. It just dies, and that's the end. And like to explain what I mean by like they go into detail about how gross, like at what, like he describes the dog as laying there like the aborted fetus of a giant or something like that. Like it's just over the top, cringy as possible, like a 13-year-old just trying to write the nastiest. And there was pimples and pus and blah blah blah. And so it made me laugh several times how it was just like, okay, yeah, what, like you just throwing a. And then the third story is about a guy who is living with his brother, I think, or something like that, and he's got this niece that lives there, and this is a little girl, and he loves this little girl, and she's awesome. And then he comes out one day to find his brother raping and strangling the little girl, and he's too much of a coward to intervene and stop it, so he just imagines if he was doing it too, and then he goes to bed and pisses himself, and that's how the story ends. And it just yeah. And then the fourth story...
Stop, man.
The fourth story was about a guy.
Why are you gonna tell? You're just gonna tell us every story.
I only read the 4. The 4th story is about a guy whose wife died, but he loved her very much, and so he starts eating her.
Well,
in order to have her live inside of him.
Want that?
I didn't specify.
If she asked for that, that's like kind of different.
But it's all about how like her beauty will live on in his body and weirdness like that. And so like
fair enough.
Like that was the whole thing. And so I stopped reading at that point because like why would I continue? There's no point. You know.
I hope my wife knows I love her
without having to consume her flesh.
I'm not saying that.
But like it got me thinking.
You will become a part of me forever.
At first I was like, you know, whatever. Somebody wrote this
shit,
just to write some horrible shit, right? They went out of their way to make it as grotesque as possible. They wanted to get some shit on paper. They did. Mission accomplished. They grossed a bunch of people out. Fine. And so but then I thought about it more, and I realized that like what I kind of started thinking is that those are horrible stories, right? Those are horrific, awful situations that this person is describing. But, like, a lot of that, like, those is just real shit that happens. Real horrible shit in the real horrible world, right?
Yeah.
And the whole point of art, or one of the whole points of art, is to explore emotion and things like this. And so, like,
Also
if you watch a Disney movie that's equally grotesque in how happy it is, as opposed to how sad and evil and disgusting it is, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, this the same. The point of this is to evoke these emotions and to explore these themes. And so, like, at the end of the day, I can't say that this book isn't just a different kind of art that's just exploring
no. Yeah, you can't.
These horrible things. But
that's
what's
say
just
well, you can. At the end of the day, you can say whatever you want about it because it's art.
I guess, and yeah,
art is allowed to be criticized however the fuck you want.
Right.
Also, what you say about it means nothing.
Nothing at all. The point of art is to exist.
Yeah.
And so, like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is hard for like an economy such as ours to even comprehend.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand how something, like, what value does it add? And it's like, well, it only has to have value because we need value for things to exist, or we don't. So we just pretend that it does. But technically, the value of art is all in your fucking brain.
Well, and like, beyond that, it kind of got.
And everybody can get different things from art. Like,
yeah.
You could read the pee pee poo poo story, and I read it, we get completely different pee pee poo poo ideas.
Yeah. But like, even that, it makes me think about, like, horror movies as well, you know, because, like, horror movies, why would you want to go be scared and terrified? Well, it's kind of, that's the point. You're exploring those emotions.
Like we talked about before, it's a safe way to be afraid.
Yeah, you're trying those ideas out, and you're seeing how you react. You're playing with the idea of somebody getting their face gnawed off by a bear or whatever the fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, the same reason you go see an action movie. You want to explore the feeling of excitement and adrenaline. Like,
that's the same reason people do any kind of fantasy type thing.
Yeah. And so, like, especially considering the fact that, like, the world is a lot more horrible than we like to pretend. Like, a book like that, you know, I don't think it was good, but, like, the point of a book like that is still perfectly valid, even though the stories in it are genuinely horrific. Genuinely horrific shit happens all the time. And the point of, like, the idea of getting to delve into those horrific themes
that it's technically safe.
In a safe way of reading a book, you know, is not fucking outlandish, you know?
Horrible shit does happen, like, at a constant rate.
Yeah, and so just, like, trying
There's something awful happening right now.
Would it be any more valid if he had written a book about how, you know, beautiful sunshine, roses, and butterflies the world is all the time?
We should change the tagline of the show to "There's something awful happening right now."
Absolutely. But, like, yeah, I don't know.
That's just the most uncomfortable idea that I have, is that there's always something horrible happening.
Just horrific, and we can't do anything about it yet.
We don't even know about it.
Yeah.
Somebody right now. I don't even want to think about what I just thought about anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to put it out there.
Shit's bad. And so, like, that's kind of where I went with it. That was my whole tangent. That was my thoughts on.
It's not even that the situation I thought of was disgusting. It's just that the hopelessness of it was so serious. Like,
it just hits you like a ton of bricks, right?
It's like, there's somebody who needs help and is like crying for help and isn't going to get it.
And we are instead
the way I was going to describe it. The way I was going to describe it was way worse. But, like,
It's one of the many reasons why I'm an anti-theist.
What'd you say?
It says one of the many reasons why I'm an anti-theist.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody would allow this shit.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
Nothing would allow
anybody
this
who
shit.
would have a world like this one on purpose.
Insane.
Fuck that guy, right? It's not. I'm not an atheist for that reason, because that's not evidence. But, like, I'm an anti-theist for that reason. I'm against the idea of this.
Fuck God.
Yeah. Fuck God.
I wasn't even gonna say that on the show tonight, but here we are.
Fuck God. Fuck. I don't think it's real, but if it is, fuck that guy. Like, that's one of the things that's the hardest for me to get across. Like, I've been doing a lot of atheist call-in shows lately, and, like, the hardest thing that I feel to convince people of, which I fortunately haven't had to bring up more than, like, once or twice on these shows yet, is that even if you could prove to me that this God exists, I want fucking nothing to do with it. And they're like, well, but it's God. I'm like, but I don't fucking care.
But why is it so bad then? Yeah.
Yeah, like, if it's supposed to be all powerful and all wonderful and
Like,
everything.
oh, you don't understand.
Why is
I'm
he
like,
such a
oh
dick?
no, fuck that.
Yeah,
That's what I say. I understand a lot of things, so fuck
Yeah.
that. There was if there's no, first of all, it all falls apart because there's no reason to make me incapable of understanding.
Seriously.
Like,
Also, further fucking
like if this is just the way I am.
has there ever been a
Fucker.
situation in which like the good guy in the movie is like, no, you don't understand. I have to fucking murder these babies. You don't understand. Just I'm mysterious. Like when that I think it was Jim Jeffries.
Probably not. But
Jim Jeffries is an Australian comedian, and
be
he's like,
pretty
"There's
funny.
nothing mysterious about being a fucking asshole. Like, if my girlfriend comes home and I'm fucking her mom, I can't be like, I'm mysterious."
yes, you can.
Yeah.
Mystery.
The mystery.
It's a mystery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tangent. So art.
So,
Fractals are really
art.
smart. Science, math, and art.
Yeah.
If I'm hearing you correctly, what you're basically saying is that you think art
Exists.
exists.
That's the long and short of it.
Well,
You heard it here first.
yeah,
folks.
now we know.
Now you're educated.
Art
You've
exists.
heard that dumb shit.
I love art. My favorite thing about art is that, like, other people make it, and then I just, like, fuck around and make things. And
Yeah.
those people are like, oh, that's good art, Ben. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Good art.
Thank you for your lies.
Gart.
Gart, you Gart.
You got Gart.
Gart.
You got Gart there.
Gart.
You Gart.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worthwhile because you're going to be dead one day, so you might as well look at pretty things
Yeah.
before then.
Explore some ideas, even bad ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one thing, like, I feel like is always okay, is to, like, I don't want to sound like Joe Rogan and be like, well, everybody should get to say
Drogan.
whatever, and, like, you should just hear him out and, like, whatever, but, like,
Jogan Rogan.
like, what Roe Jogan, fucking...
Rogue Jogan.
That's what he always fucking is all about. Like, I'm just giving him a platform. I'm just letting him talk. I'm just hearing him out, right? But, like, I don't think that's reasonable.
That could be dangerous.
But, like, I do think that, like...
Well, the idea sounds reasonable, and then people...
You should never be scared of ideas. And you should explore them and hear, like... Just don't give them... You don't have to give them a platform. You don't have to promote them. You don't have to do any of those things. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying you personally should challenge even things that you think are good ideas, because if they are really good ideas, they will survive the challenge.
Especially if they're your own.
And you should entertain even things that you think are bad ideas, because if they are really bad ideas, you will very easily understand why you should stop entertaining them.
Also, furthermore, definitely if you were raised to think something, test that at your nearest convenience.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm not saying don't listen to authority. I'm just saying test it.
Yeah.
Just check it out.
Yeah.
If you were taught something, especially your entire life, read about it
Yeah.
from sources you weren't allowed to see.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
That's the thing, is you like fucking listen to, whatever random, fucking Nazi or racist or some shithead ideology. I can tell you why these things are bad without just saying they're bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because you fucking explore them and you hear them out and you're like, okay, that's fucking stupid. Here's why.
Pretty easy.
Not saying go out looking for it. Same thing with good ideas, things that I really do like. Ideas of fucking, different philosophies and things that I don't usually talk about too much on the internet. But like
things I do like.
I can tell you why I like socialism or anarchist theory or whatever, because I can talk about them. I can tell you why I don't like capitalism, even though I grew up being told to like it, because I challenged that. You know what I mean? So like you should challenge everything and question everything, and that's art also as well as part of that.
Oh, great!
Art's all about that.
Forrest is trying to hijack art with revolutionaryism.
Art is the fucking like seeds of revolutionaryism or whatever.
Is it?
Yeah.
It could be, unless all art becomes corporate propaganda.
Well, because people are pissed off, but art is a way to express people being pissed off, and then those people who are pissed off get to all gather around the art that they all agree with, and that gives them common cause and a common voice.
To be fair, to me, art at the very bottom of the pool is just at its very core is just it's literally just a picture of what we look like right now, and that's why it pisses us off.
Talking like fucking
all of it.
The high sparrow.
I don't know, maybe.
The poor...
It's all a piece of us, like, right? When if somebody makes something, that is a reflection of that individual and what they saw.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah. They're putting their mind on the paper.
It's bad because we're bad.
Yeah.
Anyway. How much time do we have left?
About 10 minutes.
That's enough time. Before, possibly, how much do you know about this Supreme Court thing?
With the
Roe v. Wade.
Roe v. Wade, yeah. They
haven't done anything, right? It was leaked.
There was a document that was like an internal referendum
where they were just basically talking shit to each other in a memo.
Yeah, they were saying, hey, we should probably, because in June we're going to get together and do some shit, and at that time we have the votes, we should probably overturn Roe v. Wade. And that memo was leaked. It's not the first time that's happened, but it is the first time it's been something of this caliber.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. And now a bunch of Republicans who have been pushing for this to happen, because the nation is outraged, because there's not a single place in the entire country where more than, I think, 30% of people want Roe v. Wade overturned. All across the country, we all want abortion care. Like, we all think that abortion should be legal everywhere.
Except for
a very small majority. But these Republicans who have been pushing for this for so long, now instead of accepting responsibility for it and saying, hell yeah, we're going to do it, they're saying, we're mad too. We need to figure out how this leak happened.
Yeah,
and it's
I know.
Fuck you.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I've read a few articles now where they're like, this leak has undermined the trust of this institution forever.
Yeah, and then the Democrats in the Congress tried to pass a bill codifying abortion care, which is, number one, what fucking Biden said he would do immediately while gaining office, but of course that didn't happen, just like he didn't cancel student loan debt like he said he would, and all the other things he said he would do. Anyway.
No, they're just arguing about everything he said he was going to do, which we also saw coming, but still.
But like they were like, we're going to codify Roe v. Wade, we're going to make sure that people we're pass a law. They knew for sure it wasn't going to happen, because even though they have total control, there's people like fucking Manchin, who's just an asshole who just doesn't fucking care anymore, and he's doing whatever he's basically just acting like a Republican, doing whatever the oil companies want them to do. And so they put this bill up, and fucking Mitch McConnell got in front of everybody and said, this bill would allow a person to have an abortion even up to the hours before they were supposed to give birth. Until they give birth, they can have an abortion and kill their baby.
Nobody is doing
Literally
that.
Nobody said anything even close to that.
Nobody is going to allow
and
that.
It's very obviously not what their bill said, but whatever. And so
if we ever progress society to a point where you can take a brand new newborn baby or a week before they're newborn and you can just be like,
never mind.
Yeah, if society's ever like that, I don't, it's because the big business and the Republicans won.
Right.
If they're ever throwing away babies, I promise you it's because of corporations.
Also, another fucking thing is that right now there is a huge shortage on baby formula.
Yeah.
And you brought up earlier the kids in cages.
It's massive.
We still have children locked in dog kennels in fucking detention centers at the border, and there are babies in there, and so the government is sequestering baby formula to give to the babies that we have in prison right now. And there are a bunch of Republicans who are freaking out saying, we need to take care of American babies, and those are illegals. And it's like, yeah, if those fucking babies wanted to eat, they should have had different parents, huh? They should starve to death because they're illegal.
What the fuck is up?
How very pro-life of you.
Are they in the cages because, is it because we're just literally not going to change, or is it because, we lost track of where they were supposed to go?
Literally both.
It's both.
We refuse to change the policies, and we have actually misplaced thousands of children. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we are the bad guys again. We are absolute fucking assholes.
That's really bad, though. Like, that's like stuff that like somebody else might try to punish our country for
and now
someday.
the same people.
I don't think Americans realize that like someday
the rest
somebody,
of the world is watching.
Yeah, somebody might come and just be like, you know what? Well, you can't do that anymore.
We still have fucking slave labor in prisons. We still have fucking kids in cages. We fucking have an absolutely goddamn absurd homelessness rate. And
it's annoying because we're supposed to be the coolest place ever.
We have an absurd infant mortality rate. Fucking something needs to be done. It's absolute madness over here. Just ugh.
Yeah, well, if it's so bad for us, then how come we can sit on this couch and make a little show?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That must mean that we're free.
Free.
Speaking of the other things that we talked about today,
even in a country as quote unquote free as America, nobody's technically free. You're not free. Nobody's free.
Right.
You're as free as any given power is allowing you to be where you exist.
Right. Well, that's the thing is you're free to make choices about your life that are meaningful. Possibly. So when we talk about like power, the concept of power, the power is the ability to influence and change somebody else's life and actions.
Okay.
To make them do something or stop them from doing something else. And in a lot of, especially anarchist theory, which, as I said before, I'm a fan of, the concept of influencing somebody's life, the action of doing that, is just commonly referred to as violence. So it's not like I'm actually physically hurting you, but if I stop you from being able to drink that juice there because you want
that is you imposing some form of violence.
I am committing violence on you because I am taking away your freedom to do whatever. And so, like, the idea is that, you know, we all have to give up some rights or freedoms or whatever in order to live together in a society appropriately. I can't rape or murder anybody or steal or whatever like that. That's kind of the point, right? That's why one of the original ideas, instead of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it was life, liberty, and property was the concept of society.
So is anarchy, like, it's not, because you always commonly people say, oh, anarchy means there's just no rules. But is it that there's no rules, there's agreements?
So there's, just like with every kind of political theory, it's a vast ocean with lots of little things, like general ideas.
Right, but let's make it simple.
Right, so
as simple as we can in the last 5 minutes.
There are the anarchists
obviously,
that are
we're not going to crack open anarchy right now.
Right. There are the anarchist theorists that are like, we should all be fucking throwing bricks through shop windows, right? There's those assholes, but, you know, most folks don't sign on to that.
I would call that collapse. That's called collapse.
That's you know, lunacy. But the
different type of government.
The actual core of anarchy, if I can summarize it, is something that you and I have both advocated for a million times over the course of this entire show, which is just that if there is any kind of authority, any kind of power, some system that says I can decide what you do with your life in any way, shape, or form, in order for that to be able to commit violence this way, it has to be morally justifiable. And in order for something to be morally justifiable, power to be morally justifiable, it has to be like able to prove itself and justify itself to the people who are subject to it. Right. So if you have a government or a bureau or a force or an arm, anything at all, it should be able to, you know, prove itself and pass its own the litmus test of the people saying, fucking show me that you're worth existing. And if it can't do that, if it isn't actually benefiting the people who are participating in it, and yet it continues to exist and continues to have power, that power is unjustified and it is morally bankrupt.
Yeah.
And so this is why anarchy is often called like the moral heart of philosophy, in that, like, what you said was really good. There aren't governments, there is agreements, is that we are all going to live this way because we all agree this works. It's true democracy, not just they made a rule, so I guess I have to do it. We all agree on this thing. And you can take that ad absurdum and say, like, okay, well, I'm not going to fucking have to vote on how many rolls of toilet paper the school district is going to send to I don't want to participate in that. So having a representative hierarchical government makes sense.
Yeah.
But there has to be, like, when we talk about checks and balances, 100% of that needs to be independent civilian oversight. You know what I mean? And so a lot of the times, like, you look at, like, anarcho-syndicalism, which is, I'm sure I've talked about Noam Chomsky before.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's an anarcho-syndicalist, and so that's really focusing on like the workers.
He gets painted with a very broad brush in American politics,
yeah.
bro.
No, it's just like socialism. You know, socialism.
Loaded as fuck.
The definition, the foundation of socialism is that the people, the workers, as a community, own the means of production. Mm-hmm. Have I talked about capitalism and how it's fundamentally anti-democratic?
A little bit.
I think I did last week. I don't remember if I did or not.
Do it
I talked about it with somebody, and I can't remember if it's you.
You can do it again.
Okay. So
do it again.
The
science man, say a science.
We had feudalism.
This is government.
Right. We had feudalism. There were lords that owned the land, and you lived on the land, and so you had to work and give most of what you produced to the lord, and that was your life. And if not, you would be hurt. You know what I mean? So you were not free. You weren't allowed to leave. You weren't allowed to make your own decisions. You weren't allowed to make your own business. Nothing. And so out of feudalism, we changed over to capitalism. Capitalism, you own the means of production for what you do. You own your land, and you can do whatever business you want and sell whatever you want, and the market is open and free. And that was the idea. Yeah. And it is more free than feudalism. We'll give capitalism that. And the idea of this was that, we make decisions over our own lives. But what ended up happening with capitalism is it went right back to feudalism, in that you have, instead of the lords owning the land and the people who live there, you have private owners own the business, they own the means of production, they own everything, and you work for them, and their job, if in a capitalist society, they want to make as much money as possible. That's the whole point of the game, right?
Yeah.
So if they give a bunch of money to you, then they're going to be overrun by another business who gives less money. So they want to give you as little money as possible. They want you to work as hard as possible. They want to make the working conditions as terrible as possible, because good conditions cost money, right? And so the whole concept of capitalism is that if you want me to give you $1, you better make $5 worth of stuff for me. You will never, ever, ever have what you're worth. You'll never make what you're worth. You'll never earn as much as you're supposed to. I will always get more than I'm worth and more than I'm supposed to by taking whatever you produced. You will never be equal, ever. Capitalism can't allow it. But otherwise, it doesn't work. If everybody has the exact same, what's the fucking point,
right? A lot of people don't see it that way because they've,
for
whatever reason.
Well, because
they've been taught, or because they think like I did this myself. Or
the concept is that I can do whatever I want. I can go work wherever I want. And you can go get a job somewhere, sure.
You can start your own thing. I mean, that's what we're doing. But right? Technically, we're using tools and opportunities available to us to try to make our own way.
Right. But if in a capitalist society or in a capitalist framework, my
obviously
whole goal,
people always have more power than we do.
Yeah. In a capitalist framework, if you don't like how things are, fuck you. I'll get somebody else. There's a million other people who want your job.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at. And so we're back in this feudalist society where
it's just crazy that it's flipped. It's taught the workers have the power because they can do this and that. And then the second they do this and that, they're demonized.
Well, that's the thing, is that in a socialist framework, the idea is that the workers own the means of production. It's democratized. They decide what they do. Because think about this: you have with a corporation, right? You have a board of directors that are taken from the shareholders or whoever like that. So you buy shares. If you buy 77 shares of a company, that means you have 77 votes as to what that company does with the money that it makes, what it produces, how it produces it, how it pays people, all these things, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a worker in this company, say you own 100 shares, you can make 100 votes saying, hey, you should give me more money. But then there's this asshole who can afford 10 million shares. Fucking camera died again.
Damn, we've been talking.
I'm going to turn it back on. I'm not putting another ad break in there. So then this guy can afford 1 million shares. Your 100 votes don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
This guy has 1 million shares. He says you're going to do what I say, right?
Yeah.
So then you have this board of directors that runs the place, and the shareholders are voting on this board. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
on the board of directors, their job is to give money back to the shareholders, right? You get dividends.
Yeah.
So you own a bunch of this company, and because you own a bunch of this company, the company gives you money for owning it. You didn't do anything. These workers did the work. They made the money. They give some of it to you because you have so many shares. It doesn't matter if you have 100 shares and you work in the bottom. You're not going to get shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is where the when we talk about democratizing the workplace, it's instead of having this board of directors of rich people who own a bunch of the company anyway, everybody owns company. And if you owned if you had a share in where your company was now, an equal, actual, real share in it, would you vote to keep things the way they are? Or would you vote to have conditions better for you, right?
Yeah.
And so when I say that capitalism is antithetical to freedom or to democracy, what does democracy say? Democracy says everybody gets an equal voice and an equal vote, and everybody votes, every vote counts, and if you don't like something, you can change it, and this country is of the people and by the people and for the people, and we're all going to work together, and all the... Capitalism says, I make the rules, I'm in charge, you do what I say, I own the share, so I get more votes than you do. If you don't like it, you can either leave, or better yet, I'll fucking fire you, you can starve to death, I'll get somebody else in here.
Man.
It's, I own it, and I own you. It's the
What do you
opposite.
say to the people who say, though, that they just blow you off and say, oh, well, that's not real capitalism?
Look the fuck around you.
I understand, but they say that people will say, like, oh, that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not real capitalism. And I understand, Forrest, that, like, that's what you get.
Right.
That's what it turns into no matter what. Those people are going to, at the very least, try to argue that, well, that's what happened because these people outworked these people. They outdid this, outdid that, outfucked and outfarted and all that shit.
Outfucked and outfarted.
It doesn't mean anything, right, to you and me because you and I have both worked very hard.
What I would say is, let me ask you.
We know that.
How much?
A lot of people have worked extremely hard, right? But again,
right,
like it's just a talking point that they've been taught.
I just looked up how much does Jeff Bezos make in a second.
I'm not talking about Jeff Bezos. I'm talking about capitalists.
Right, but when people say this isn't how capitalism is supposed to, like capitalism was a great thing, and if you work harder, you can get farther, right?
Yeah.
So Jeff Bezos makes around $2,500.
It's almost like religion. There's a disconnect. They know that like Jeff Bezos is too rich.
Yeah. Well, so Jeff
like
Bezos.
These same people know. They're like, yeah, it's definitely stacked.
Yeah.
The deck is definitely stacked against us, and like it's totally fucked. So I'm gonna beat it somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking, how are you gonna do that?
The idea that you can just work harder and make more money is insane. Because, like, what I was just
maybe you could have, like, if you had started when everybody else started 300 years ago,
Jeff Bezos
1,000 years ago,
makes $2,500 per second, right? If I go and, like, say I do a show or something like that for a day, you know, and I charge $2,500, like, I might make $2,500 in a month, right? Do you really think that Jeff Bezos is doing a month's worth of work every second? Do you think that he is working 2,000? Because this fucking, if I make that in a month, right? Say I make that in a day. Wow, I make $2,500 in a day. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. Do you think that Jeff Bezos worked 86,400 times harder, smarter, better than I did in that day? Or do you think he exploited a bunch of people who don't get bathroom breaks and there's huge problems of like exploitation and racism and sexism and everything? And it's like
I think probably the exploitation.
Yeah, because that's the definition.
Even if he's not like directly exploiting someone, that's just how it is.
Right.
So like,
but that's how it has to work. Is like we said, is
he has to be exploiting people just by the nature of how much shit he's got.
You have to make more than you earn for capitalism to work. It is the definition of exploitation.
Those people are all free to go work at different places or whatever, Forrest.
Right.
They could all be millionaires too.
But if you had
if they would just outwork and out shit and out everything else I said, everybody all at once.
If you had
if everyone wins all the time, everyone will win all the time.
And that's the capitalist dream, right? If everybody just worked hard, they'd all win. Everybody would be rich. But that's the thing. If you had a company that actually treated people properly, today and paid people properly, it would be blown out of the water by fucking Walmart because they can do more with more money because they don't treat people properly and they save the money.
Well, it depends
That's
on
the
what they're
problem.
doing. I think that's why you see so many people in our generation and near our generation are going into the same type of thing we're going into, where it's content creation and it's media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our number one export is media
Yeah.
in the United States. There's a reason for that.
It's fantasy. We're trying to just say, hey, where everybody's happy, it's fine, just fine. And like, that's not,
And try to sell that to everybody.
it's not real.
Well, not only is it not real, it's the only thing left.
Yeah.
When the robots take over,
Yeah.
which will be soon, you're gonna need that UBI.
Yeah.
My universal base income.
I'm all about it.
Most people, I think, are coming around to the idea, though. A lot of people are starting to understand that, like, well, yeah, if there's no jobs, you're going to need it, at least for some people are going to need it.
More and more people in our generation are identifying as socialist, and that's pretty cool.
I don't identify as shit.
The problem,
I don't
however,
identify as a fucking thing.
The problem, however, is that we still have a million people that
I
are
don't
like
know what that
fucking.
means.
Well, if you like,
I'm
if
a
you don't
mix of
like
a lot of shit.
if you like socialism, look at this country or that country that was socialist and then blew up. And what we still have to continue explaining is that there's yet to be a socialist country. There have been countries that got pretty close to starting socialism, and then America destroyed them. Fucking their shit, like just the shit that the CIA has admitted to doing. Fucking funding millions and millions of dollars into fascist dictatorships to overthrow democratically elected socialist governments and leaders. And then the country does super well and just sees amazing growth. And then the CIA comes in and is like, hey, surprise, we gave all of these people weapons and told them that you're a pedophile or whatever. So now they're coming for you. And then this awesome democratically elected government gets ousted and eradicated. And then the country just plummets into bullshit. And then everyone in America goes, see, they're eating rats over there because they're so poor because they turned socialist. And we're like, fucking, I thought you liked democracy, you guys. If you like democracy so much, maybe we should let democracy decide. Or instead, maybe just not, I guess. We'll just keep doing what we've been doing.
No. You can do anything as long as you don't democratically decide to socialist.
Yep.
It's it's a mess.
Look up our fucking failings in El Salvador because we had to stop the spread of communism in Central America. Fuck me, man. Anyway, we can go in overtime now, but
that's fine. They'll probably appreciate it after the fucking myriad of short episodes.
This episode was about
You'll put it in the title.
well, I'm trying to remember.
We'll remember when
we talked about
Yep.
yeah,
it was a good job.
we talked about the creator thing. We talked about content creators. We talked about art, and we talked about socialism, and we talked about V8 juice.
We actually started on V8 juice. That's the last thing you mentioned.
Yeah. Good episode today.
You went backwards.
Sorry to go on a whole tirade about socialism, but check it out. It's pretty cool.
Check out that socialism.
Check out that socialism. I'm not a huge I don't throw around the word socialism to describe myself, or I'm not a socialism. I don't usually use the word because it's been so contorted that it means almost nothing. And also, I don't 100% I definitely don't call myself a Marxist because while I like a lot of what Marxism has to say, there's certain things that I just don't buy. Labor theory of value, for example, which is what I was arguing against when we were talking about Jay Bezos working super hard because that's what capitalists use, but it's fucking stupid. Anyway,
yeah. It's like some dumbass scale for trying to figure out how much of a value a work is worth.
Yeah, it's like this is worth more money because I worked harder on it. It's like, okay, but it's still shit. Okay, and the one that the machine made in 2 seconds is better, so that's better, right? But anyway.
Oh, that's where you start talking about we should purposely keep things shitty so that people have jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like we should hold ourselves back as a species so that we don't accidentally fuck ourselves over. It's not. That's not all it is, but that's part of that thinking. I can't stand that. Yeah. I don't like the people who think we can't have robots replace human workers. Because it's like, why?
Yeah, but that's better.
Why do humans need to be doing certain jobs?
Just don't let them. Just don't do it.
They don't have to.
Well, it fucking pisses me off because then it's the same fucking shit. It has the exact same tone as the people who are like, well, you can't fucking pay this McDonald's worker $20 an hour because the point of this job is to not pay enough that you want to work some. And it's like, okay, cool. So you just think that somebody has to do this job and that person should not be able to afford food. What? What? I literally have had people say
starve to death so the next McDonald's worker can take their place.
Right? It's the machine.
That's why it's going to be
fucking
replaced
stupid.
by robots, you fucking idiots. It's because of the way we treat the people who are already doing it.
Thanks so much for tuning in this week. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
No gods, no masters. And
Kill your masters.
And I'm Forrest.
And I'm Ben.
And go drink a crisp, delicious V8 today. And then write them a letter and tell them to sponsor us.
Yeah, I bet if they get
Drink it with
both
a label
of your
out
letters,
towards the camera.
they'll probably do it.
Yeah.
Have a good time, y'all. Happy
Later.
Sunday.
Goodbye.